Well, you got a little bit of time playing next to Jacobson last year, but how much are you looking forward to doing that now with, the weight that he's put on and kind of what he's done in the offseason after his injury?
I'm really looking forward to not just him, but I'd say the combination of him and Braden playing together and me being able to play the four and kind of play alongside them just because he's such a lob threat. He can shoot the ball a little bit. So I really think that opens up some things where you didn't get to see me. Like, obviously, I'm not as much of a lob threat. And so to give Braden that option just to go to consistently, I think it's going to be key for our team. So just playing alongside that and giving us a different look, I think is going to be really, really special.
I know you hadn't really gone up against him for several months, but have you noticed any difference yet in the extra 30 pounds and what that means for when you're?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's the first time I've played against him in a while, and he's still. I mean, this is. I'm assuming some of the first times that he's been able to come out and play too. So it's just gonna be one of those things where a couple practices I'll get to see a little bit more.
Just how was the off season for you?
It was great. It was great. There's a lot of things that people don't realize. Like, we only got a month off, so it's one of those things where we're gonna get another 3 months where I get to work on my skill set, my jump shot, some other things, and so I'm kind of rebuilding in that area. So I'm not perfect right now, but I'm a much better spot now than what I was and have been. So I'm kind of excited for that, coming up.
Physically, is that month off enough to kind of get back to 100%?
Oh yeah. Physically, I'm great. So I'm excited. I feel like I'm in. I mean, obviously not perfect shape, but I'm in good enough shape. And then obviously conditioning. I mean, not conditioning, like strength and that sort of thing. I think I've done a good job keeping up with that. So.
The value of Braden and Fletcher having started for 3 years, he's starting for 2 years and playing that third year. How much does that help hit the ground running when you start a new season?
Just
so you're talking the new guys up to speed pretty quickly, I think. So.
Yeah, and especially when you have good players, but also like the IQ of those other guys, I think is really going to be key and special with this group. We've played obviously in a lot of different games, but I think as basketball players, we play smart. Like, a lot of people dominate because they're more athletic. They can just be better. And we have obviously a very skilled team, but our IQ allows us to be special. And I think as far as bringing new guys in, that's what it takes. Not just the coaches teaching, but the players teaching as well.
You guys have the whole team wasn't here yet today. You guys can watch film on some of those guys, but is there some anticipation of finally getting Omar here and Oscar here and seeing what they are, seeing how they play?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited. I think it's one of those things. Again, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to get people in different systems, especially the way that we play. We play a little bit differently than a lot of other teams, and so it'll take time for it to be perfect. But I think from what I've heard and what I've seen as far as their film, I think they'll fit right in, and I think that they'll be, our coaches will be able to, devise schemes and be able to put them in the best spots possible.
So what were your impressions of Oscar just from your own scouting?
Well, I mean, the big thing is, I think Coach Payne told me, he rebounded more per minute than Zach. And so, when I'm looking at the amount of rebounds that Zach got just in practice and in game, it was incredible. So anytime you can do that, especially at the level that we play, I just can't imagine somebody rebounding more than Zach, to be honest with you. So, I can't wait to see it in person. That's just unbelievable to me. I don't know how he did that, I'm just excited. And then obviously, I can't.
Omer.
Yeah, Omer. I mean, I think PJ said he's kind of like Braden, but a little bit taller. And so, if that's your description that you give a player, I don't think there's anybody that can beat us if that's the case. So, I mean, to be honest with you. So, no, I'm just excited for them to come in. But really, I'm excited for everybody to get healthy. I think we have a lot of people that are out right now. And so I'm excited for everybody to kind of gel as a group.
What's the next evolution for your game?
I got to hit open shots consistently. I think that's the biggest thing. I think defensively, a lot of things will show when I'm given different responsibilities. I had to guard the 5 because, just the way our roster was structured, the way we played last year. And so I wasn't able to do things that, I think I'll be a much better rebounder, for example, but when I'm blocking out somebody that's 60, 70 pounds heavier than me, it's a lot more difficult versus when you're guarding the 4, you can kind of just hit and then go get the ball. And then as far as switching and doing all those things, I think that was more of a scheme thing and how our roster was built. But shooting, I have to be able to hit open shots. I think that's the biggest thing.
Is your mind already gone to, you've played with a big before as a forward, your first year starting was Zach.
Yeah.
Last year playing the 5. Are there stuff in your head already that you're like, okay, I wish I was this good then or knew then that I can do now next to a big as a 4?
I think, yes and no. I think Zach's just so different than other people. Now that's no offense to Clough, but I think that, he's just a different beast as far as just his size in general. I wasn't able to get to certain spots. I would compare it to more of Caleb as far as his mobility and so when I look at it like that, I think I'm going to be put in kind of the same offensive spots. Sometimes whereas Zach, I would never, most of the time I was the blast guy. I still think I'll be that kind of short roll guy. I can throw it up to Daniel Clough and, we can go from there. But at the same time, of course, I wish I was the player that I am now that I was when Zach played. Of course.
You talked about, in theory, maybe not losing a game with this bunch. Clearly, that probably doesn't happen, but you kind of feel like there's not really a weak spot with your experience at the 4 and the 5. You're adding, a big who was here last year but sat out the year. You got in another big. Like you said, you've got another point guard now who can do a lot of the same things. You can afford to maybe be more aggressive and not get in foul trouble because you've got people that come off the bench. So I feel like there's not really any weak spots with this roster.
Yeah, that's what it feels like on paper. Obviously, like I said, you got to get everybody together and see what it looks like practically as a team. But that's the biggest process is getting the guys here, not as far as just playing, but just gelling with all the new guys. Because I think if that happens, I don't see why we're not the best team in the country. Just honestly, I just think we have a lot of talented guys right now, and I think based on how high the coaches are and the new guys, I think we're going to be a really good team.
You announced pretty early you were coming back. Obviously, off-season, they're a little crazy now, but just to be able to finish your career together with Braden, Fletcher, one school, whole time, just how does that kind of sit with you now at the start of this one?
Yeah, I love, I love it. I think it's a kind of a storybook ending. I'm glad to be, called the guy that was, loyal to his team the whole time. But I think to Coach Payne's credit, I always made the decision that I thought was best for me, and that's what was helpful, right? If there was a situation in which I thought there was a better opportunity on another team, I would have went there. This year, last year, the previous year, whatever. But I just always looked at it as I knew the coaches had my best interest in mind. I knew I was going to be given the opportunity, and I knew the system would really fit me. And so it's one of those things that lined up. Obviously, I love that, I love all the coaches and the players in the team, so it really worked out. But I made sure to tell them that because it wasn't just like I was loyal for no reason. Right? I was loyal because it's the best spot. So.
What do you feel like you have to do to rebound back this year?
Well, like I said, I think I think the biggest thing is the fact that I'll be guarding more of the 4. And I think that will put me in better positions to rebound more. I think that as far as usage, my usage will go down. And so it just allows me to rebound better instead of having to score all the time and having to do so much for, how the team's, running. I can focus more on that, to be honest with you. But besides that, my priority now is making that a priority when I step on the court. Whereas last year, obviously I cared about it, but I felt like there was so much responsibility that I had in other areas that it was just difficult.
You mentioned the advantage that your team has is kind of the smarts, the intelligence. When you have a point guard and a 2/3 guard, I guess in Fletcher, who have that kind of intelligence, how much farther, I guess, does that put you ahead of the competition sometimes just because they're thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of where most people would be?
I mean, it's kind of hard to describe, I guess. It just, like, the game just flows more smoothly. You feel like if you, especially with Braden, like, if you're in the right spot, you're going to get the ball. If you're in a scoring position, you're going to get the ball, right? And so it feels like when you're on the floor, everything's more cohesive. It's a unit. Like, you're playing with smart people, and you can have confidence that they're going to make the right play. And so obviously you gel as far as chemistry and liking the guys, which we do, but you also gel with people who understand the game. Right? I know a lot of great people that are horrible players to play with because it's just like you set a screen and roll, and then they shoot a step back fadeaway on two guys. It's like. But they just don't understand. It's not their fault. It's just they're a great person. Like, we'll go out to eat afterwards, but it's just like right now, like, dude, you can't shoot that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, I just think playing with those type of guys makes my job really easier, but it makes all of the players much better.
Saying that, what's next for Braden when you look on the court and what his senior year could entail outside, leading you guys to the national title?
Well, I mean, that's really it. I mean, for him, I mean, there's nothing that he has to prove to anybody, really. I mean, as far as being a guard and playing his position, I mean, he does everything a guard should do and rebounds the heck out of the ball and, commits defensively, stays in the gym. Like, there's nothing from a basketball stance except more accolades, more, individual and team awards for him. So, I mean, I think when you look at it like that, and then hopefully he gets a chance to play in the NBA. I mean, that's if I'm in his position, that's what I'm thinking. And I think going to the national championship obviously elevates that as much as possible. Because when you can get to, obviously people are saying, like, I'm sure that he's dealt with this his entire career. Like, is he going to be able to, with his size, play in the NBA? Well, he's led a team to the national championship. Like, he's the Bob Cousy award winner. Like, as a guard, he's done everything possible at this level, and he was great in this previous level. So it's like, what more could you want from him?
Zach learned going up against Trey Young-Williams